Good day, everybody. Hope you had a nice Christmas. I'm here with Ollie. We had a nice one. Spent it quietly with some friends after going to Mass. And Ollie's been a good boy today, so he gets a treat. Here we go. These are these Ollie treats. I have an affiliate link. If you link on there, they're really good. And he likes it because it's named after him. And Ollie's my top policy advisor, so he helps me out on stuff. And we have a lot of stuff to cover today. But first, uh, I got a great present from my friend John Yagi up in Sur de Alene, Idaho. John's a great friend. He's a philosopher, teaches philosophy and football. Great combination. Always love the two. Football is a really complex game if you study it. It seems pretty simple. Two teams go like this, throw a football around. Where's my football? There we go. And they throw it around like that, right over it. But it's really a complex game, and he's a coach up there. Anyway, thanks, John. And this is I've already I got it on Christmas and started drinking it the next day, and it's half gone because I drink a lot of coffee. This is 100% Arabica coffee. It's called Mystic Monk coffee from these monks in Wyoming. This one's called Jingle Bell Java. I like flavored coffee sometimes. Usually I like plain, but I like these too, especially around Christmas. These are monks up in uh, Meeteetse Creek Road in Wyoming. Meeteetse, Wyoming. I'll leave a link in the description. And they have a URL here, mysticmonkcoffee.com. It's really good. I got another one here. Okay, this one is just Mystic Monk Blend, 100% Arabic. Be having that soon. As soon as I keep going with this, keeps me warm. Today it's a little chilly here in California. Right now it's like 63 degrees. That's cold for California. Not as cold as Idaho. So let's build a little bit. So we have some news to go over here. A couple of days after Christmas. It's the 29th. And we have this one here this is Behind the News with John Seiler. We're behind the news here. U.S. economy defies expectations with strong performance in third quarter. Annualized 4.3% growth. Healthy consumer spending. Trump claims credit, of course. Warning signs loom because of unemployment and inflation. No question there are problems. But I think overall it's probably good. And you always have to wonder about government numbers. And there were some problems because they shut the government down. But I think it's probably pretty accurate. And I predicted back in March when Trump put the tariffs on, I'm against tariffs, but I told people, I said, you have to look at it overall. This is like a big puzzle. And Trump he's cutting regulations and cutting taxes quite a bit. So that's really good. It booms the economy, but then you have to get the money from somewhere. So he has these tariffs and he puts the tariffs on. Come on now, Polly. He puts the tariffs on and that reduces economic activity. But overall, it's really a positive for the whole economy in the end. It took a while to percolate through the whole thing, but I think it's going to work pretty well now. And the problem is again inflation and unemployment because there are some problems, especially with this AI stuff, which is good overall, but there's going to be adjustments. We'll see what happens next year, but I think it's pretty good, and we'll see. And the problem with the tariffs too is if you just had the flat 15% tariff, that's predictable. But he does all these other crazy things that are unpredictable. He put tariffs on China to get them because he was upset with them about something. And then they say, okay, you're not getting our rare earth metals, so no more weapons, which need them, and no more cars, which need them. So he backed off. But overall, it's sort of good. And next, we have some stuff on the deficit, which that's a bad sign too. $2 trillion again. It's amazing they couldn't reduce it at all. And New York Times in their paper here for Doge, that's the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk's thing, which closed down a little bit ago. for Doge, big disruption returned meager savings. So they have this chart here. See, they were supposed to get the red part, but they only got the green part. There's only like 5 billion savings, billion trillion, who knows? Uh, you only got that much, so basically worthless. But I got another thing here. This is from American Association of Retired Republicans, obviously Republican group. It says Doge has terminated over 25,000 federal contracts and grants, saving $125 billion or $1,056 per taxpayer. The cuts target wasteful spending across key agencies like health and human services. It might be a while before we get an accurate prediction, but even if it is that much, 175 billion, that's less than 10% of the 2 trillion we need to cut to balance the budget. So it's still a big mess. And I don't trust the New York Times on any numbers, so it might be somewhere in the middle of there. And here, the Times also is concerned here. The U.S. must break China's chokehold on our economy. This is an editorial. The world's democracies cannot depend upon a powerful authoritarian state for critical metals. That's the rare earth metals. And that was a good rock group too, rare earth back in the day. Anyway, the problem here is all the policies of the New York Times, since I've been reading it, which is since like 1967 when I was in junior high school, have been against this. They've been for high taxes, high regulations, destroy our industries, destroy mining, mining ripping up Mother Earth. Oh no, we can't do that. So then what happens when China takes over everything? How stupid they are. And they also have another New York Times story here. I like trashing the New York Times. Chasing boom, White House downplays AI risks. That's artificial intelligence. And certainly there are risks to it, and we need to deal with that. We need to deal with the externalities, they call them, when you build these big data centers. They take a lot of electricity. We just need to, why aren't we building nuclear power plants? In one of my previous videos, I had a thing that China's building, dozens of them every year. New nuclear power, we're building like one in the last 40 years. Isn't that crazy? And of course, the other things with AI is uh, it's just taking over the parts of the economy. People are becoming unemployed. I think that can be dealt with too if we cut taxes and let people create jobs. That's how you do it. But the Times, again, they spent, ever since I've read them, almost 60 years now, they're always for high taxes, high regulations, high minimum wage, destroy everything. So just foolish. Next, we come to President Zelensky of Ukraine, visiting Trump yesterday in Washington. And they had Trump, I've been criticizing him a lot lately. And one of the things that's always amusing about him is that everything is always a win. No matter what happens, it's a win. He's winning. He's doing everything. He's bringing peace. And we just have a little bit, we're 95% there on the peace with Ukraine and Russia. We're right, Ali. We're 95% there, and we just gotta have a few more negotiations. But there's no way it's that, because one of the things is that they want to leave. They want to have Ukraine have an 8,000 man army, which is more than they had at the beginning of the war, almost 4 years ago. And guess what they'll do with that 8,000 man army? They'll give them the latest NATO weapons, which is U.S. weapons, and then they'll start the war again. They'll attack Russia. So if Russia gets to keep a certain part of it temporarily, supposedly in the east, the Donetsk area, Donetsk and Luhansk, then the Donbass is called, which is mostly Russian culture and religion and language. Then eventually they'll attack again. Like, remember, just before this war started, 4 years ago, the Ukrainians, Zelensky was attacking the Russians in this area, in the Donbass area. He killed 14,000 of them. These are mostly civilians. They were killed over there. That's one of the reasons Russia attacked. Anyway, there's no way that's going to happen. It's been obvious for at least a year probably 2 years. Oh, Ollie, whenever I talk on the phone, he always gets jealous. So it's been obvious Russia is winning the ground war, the whole war. They're winning the war, and that they're going to settle it. And that's it. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. Well, there's one thing: the United States could get involved and send our troops in and our planes in, because that would have some effect. Because Ukraine basically doesn't have an air force. We have a really good air force, and so does some of the NATO countries. Ollie, stop. And okay, wait a second. Let's go in, Ollie. Come here. Come here. Sorry for the interruption, but he's going inside. There you go, Ollie. Sometimes he gets rambunctious, just like me. Anyway, so then the United States would attack them with our air force, and the Navy has a fine air force as well. Whatever, the naval aviators, Top Gun, Mavericks up there with the best of the best. But then that would be nuclear war, and Trump doesn't want American casualties coming home either. So that's not going to happen. It's just a non-starter. We'll just see what happens on the ground. Uh, it's just silly. And um, I might write something about it. But Mitch McConnell, the turtle, used to be a majority leader. He has a piece in was it the New York Times or the Washington Post? I think it was the Post. I might write something on this, just pushing the war again. The guy's been a warmonger. He's always been with the military-industrial complex, and it just says a lot of silly things in there about how Ukraine is still holding up, and Russia's just is a slow movement. But Russia's strategy is not to take territory; it's to destroy the Ukrainian army, which they're doing. And Mitch has all these phony numbers in there. Excuse me. Really good coffee, Mystic Mountain coffee. Uh, and just a lot of nonsense in there. I mean, this guy was a majority leader, and he pushed through. Remember, a year and a half ago, the $63 billion aid package to Ukraine. That money's all gone. That's gone. It was all wasted, just killing people. Total nonsense. But one of the things he says in there, he wrote this with Gene Shaheen, a Democratic senator, so it's bipartisan, whatever that means. It just means they're all in the part of the military-industrial complex. But anyway, he brags that the Ukrainians destroyed 1/3 of Russia's airplanes, uh, their strategic airplanes, their bombers. They have nuclear bombs on them. That is so. That is. I mean, there's nothing more idiotic than that, because technically Russia was supposed to launch a nuclear attack on us. They should have killed all of us right after that. You'd be dead. Everybody you know would be dead. But they didn't, because they knew Trump was coming in. This was October, just before the election. They knew Trump was going to win. And these airplanes are put out in the open because of the New START treaty, which is expiring in February this year. But it mandates that these bombers be out in the open. Ours are out in the open in America, in our air bases, so they can be seen by satellites. And also, it's obvious it wasn't just Ukraine doing this attack. They got all the information from us and from the Brits about where these things are located, and got the telemetry and all that stuff for the drones that attacked it. And Mitch says it destroyed 1/3 of them. Well, not really, because most of them could be repaired with parts. And in any case, the main part of the Russian deterrent, that their nuclear force, is not the planes. It's the missiles on the ground, the ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and the missiles in the submarines, which you cannot locate the submarine ones. They're all underwater. They have SLBMs, submarine launched ballistic missiles. And Russia also has new weapons. They have this thing called Poseidon, and this is incredibly scary. I think it's maybe a couple of years from development, but it's a missile that goes underwater and blows up cities, coastal cities, and many of our big cities are on the coast: New York, Los Angeles, Seattle, San Francisco, Savannah, Miami, and so on. And it goes underwater. It shoots this nuclear torpedo with a 100 megaton nuclear bomb that's bigger than anything ever exploded, and it just totally it would destroy the whole New York metropolitan area. One of those, and this isn't controlled, and it should be controlled under nuclear weapons treaties, but we don't have that. Mitch doesn't care about that. He doesn't. He's bragging about Ukraine supposedly, meaning the United States, destroying some airplanes on the ground, when the real deterrent is the submarines and the ICBMs, especially the submarines. And we have submarines too, really excellent submarines that you can't detect. So these people they're just so foolish. I've been writing about this forever, and I'm just unbelievable. Okay, what else do we have here? Um, through a couple more things, kind of close out the year. And out here in Taxifornia, California, they're talking about a tax on rich people. Uh, there'll be not just on an income tax, it's already 14.4% on income, the highest except for New York City, which is 14.776%. No wonder people are leaving there, and they'll be leaving more under this socialist nut, what's his name, Zoran Mamdani. But in California, they just want to tax the wealth. Let's see what the number is here. It would be 5% of their assets, 1% a year for 5 years of their assets, if it's more than $1 billion. So if some of these guys are worth like 100 billion, so 5%, they would take 5 billion from their money, 5 billion, and what would it go to? Waste. This state just wastes money unbelievably. These people, they're just fools. And these guys, the tech guys like Larry Ellison, he's getting involved in politics now too much. But anyway, him and the tech guys over at Google, they're all at least $100 billion they're worth. So, but they use that money to invest. This guy Sergey Brin, just read something on him. He took 5 years off from being in technology during COVID. He just took a long vacation. And some friends said to him, it's really happening now with this AI stuff. Your company, Google, is one of the top AI companies, along with Anthropic and, of course, OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. And you got better get back there. So he's going to go back, and he's already back there. So they just want to take another 5 billion from him, which could be used to develop this stuff, because that's what they do. These guys, they don't. I mean, what do you need when you have $100 billion? You have private jets. You can do anything. Some of them do that Epstein stuff, which is disgusting. They all should be jailed forever. They did that, but most of them don't do. Like Bill Gates, whatever he did. But most of them don't do that. They just build their companies, and they provide jobs for us. And uh, we are in a tough competition with China, like the New York Times said, not just on metals, but on AI. And these guys in California want to tax it. They want to tax the guys that are making it, take their money so they can't make it. So then China wins everything. It's kind of windy here today. And we're getting some rain in a couple of days. But that's what these idiots want to do. Unbelievable. But I think Newsom will stop it. If he doesn't stop him in the legislature, he'll veto it, because he wants to be president, and he doesn't want to be seen as a tax increaser, even though he already has increased our taxes. Mystic Mountain Coffee keeps me going mystically. Just a couple more stories here. New York Times: agendas of 3 Trump aides fuel Venezuela campaign. The main one is, of course, Marco Rubio. He comes from a Cuban exile family, which is fine. I hated communism and was always against Castro. But when the Cold War ended, 1991, when the Soviet Union ended, my position was just let those people do what they want to. In fact, I said one of the ways communism ended was we had better relations with Eastern Europe. With Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, we started trading with them more. Got rid of whatever sanctions we had, restrictions, not all of them, because because of technology for weapons. And then they got to know us better. They got to know about freedom. That's what we should do in this case. Get rid of the sanctions, get rid of the tariffs or whatever they have on them that they've been on. We've had sanctions on Cuba for since what, 61? So 60, yeah, 64 years. 64 years. Oh, there's a good story on that too. Kennedy put the sanctions on Cuba, supposedly to destroy the Castro regime, which is still in power. But anyway, just before the sanctions were imposed, he had one of his aides buy like 10,000 cigars from Cuba. Really, and he had this. He had a humidor, of course. He was a multimillionaire. He put these cigars all in there so he didn't have to pay for them, but didn't enjoy them for too much longer after that. Whoever bumped him off, too bad. But anyway, and then Trump reportedly has bombed something in Venezuela, but he has restrictions on this one because you can't have Americans dying and coming home again, especially not before the midterm. And Venezuela probably would be pretty tough place to conquer. With I think they have like 12,000 troops in the area, tough troops. Marines are tough, Army, but that I mean, you need several 100,000 to try to conquer the country, probably 1,000,000, and that wouldn't work. Anyway, I wish he would stop all these wars. Mr. Peace President, stop the wars. Okay, a final one here. This is another sad one. Trump on Christmas Day bombed these terrorists who were killing Christians and enslaving Christians in Nigeria. Just another war, and it's going to make it worse for those people. And Trump says he was raised Presbyterian, and he went to Billy Graham's rallies in New York City. His father took him there, so he's some kind of Christian, I guess. But anyway, maybe he's heard the statement by Tertullian, the Greek theologian, who said, "The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church." It's an old saying. The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. Martyr means witness. These people are witnesses for all of us about the importance of Christianity. And Christ, of course, died for us. He didn't call in an airstrike on the Romans. He didn't call in a tomahawk missile strike on Pontius Pilate. Where he says in the gospel, and St. Peter says, I don't want you to do this. And he cuts off one of the guy's ears, and Jesus says, no, I could have legions of angels take care of these guys. Legions of angels. That's more powerful than a tomahawk, don't you think? More powerful than even a nuclear bomb. That's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be a witness for this, and then people see it and they look into it. Nowadays, maybe these Muslims, the terrorists, they could look up the Bible online, start reading it. Just to guess. But anyway, I don't know. Trump just needs to stop bombing everybody. He's bombed Somalia 100 times, more than 100 times. What's he going to do? Bomb the Somalis in Minnesota? He insulted them. That's bad enough. But just stop doing it. Anyway, that's a sort of end to the year. I'll probably do another one tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, with New Year's coming up. So everybody, remember to get your Mystic Coffee. I'll put a link. What's the URL again? mysticmonkcoffee.com. It's really good stuff. Thanks again, John. Oh, wait. Ollie, he wants to come and say goodbye. Come here, Ollie. Come on. Come here. Come here. There we go. Ollie wants to say goodbye, right, Ollie? Okay, here's another treat for you. He's been a good boy. He just wants to join the fun. He has his opinion. And they're better than mine. Okay. Goodbye, everybody.